verse 17, and Yaakov wakes up and he says, Vayira, he wakes up, Vayomar, and he said, how awesome is this place? Ein Zekim, Beit Elokim, V'zeh Sha'ar Shamayim. This is the house of God, and this is the gate to heaven. Let's see what Rashi says. So Rafael is joining us from Brazil, I think, right, Rafael? No, where are you, in Brazil?
Right now I'm in Lima, Peru.
Oh, Peru. Okay, Peru. Fine. It's not the same. I don't know why I said Brazil. So they're don't know. Brazil speaks Portuguese. I assume Peru is Spanish, right?
Yes, they speak Spanish.
They're totally different. Totally different.
Not
So
really.
what?
Not
So
really.
they're similar. Okay. So Rashi says he and Beis Elohim. Amar Rabbi Elazar b'Shem Rabbi Yossi ben Zimra. Hasulam hazeh. This ladder. What a beautiful image that Rashi says. This ladder was standing with its feet in Beersheba. The middle of its incline was reaching opposite the Beis Hamikdash. Magia kinega Beis Hamikdash. Shebe'er Sheva Ome b'Joma Shal Yehuda. B'Yerushalayim b'Tzfona. בגבול שבין יהודה ובנימין. ובית אל היה בצפון של נחלת Binyamin. So basically, Beit El was in the north, the Temple Mount was in the middle, and Beersheba was in the south. And so there was a ladder that was extending, and with the ladder at its feet in Beersheba, the middle was reaching opposite the base of Mikdash, and the northern part came to Beit El, which was Beit El was on the part between Benjamin and Joseph. Nimsa suam sharagav be'Beersheba v'rosho Beit El magia emtza shipuo nega Yerushalayim. The middle of the ladder was in Jerusalem. Uklapei she'amar Rabbeinu she'amar Kodesh Baruch Hu tzaddik zeh ba'u lebeit meloni. Well, we're going to come back to this part. I'm not running over it. I want to come back to this phrase because it's a very pregnant phrase, a very rich phrase, a very powerful image that Rashi has told us. Very, very, very powerful. Very powerful. So, very powerful. So it says like this. It says, but before we get back to that image, we'll continue with the Rashi, chapter 28, verse 17. It says, regarding that which our rabbis said, that God said, Sadik zeh ba'u beit miloni, this righteous man has come to my inn. V'pater below, should he leave without spending the night? And they also said, Yaakov karau Yerushalayim Beis El. Jacob called Jerusalem Beit El, v'lo Lucy. If you ever go to Beit El, I have been there, you'll see they have a stone. This is peak. You have a stone which says this is the stone that Jacob slept on. And that is Luz. And Jerusalem, Jacob called Jerusalem Beit El, and this is Luz and not Jerusalem.
So do you think it's actually the stone?
It's possible because there's a special stone that he either built an altar on. The biggest stone there would probably be the one we put his altar on. I don't know. And so where did they learn this? So what's the problem that Rashi's addressing? Because Rashi says, how could Jacob have departed the Temple Mount without spending the night? And why did Jacob, the big problem is, why did Jacob call Jerusalem Beit El? That's what it says in the Talmud. But Beit El is not Jerusalem, it's Luz. So what happened was, this is an unbelievable image, Rashi says. I say, now this is unusual, Rashi says, Ani Omer. Where else do we see a similar expression from Rashi? When he talks about the ephod, he says, Omer Ani Belibi, I say in my heart, that what is this ephod? This is what the noblewomen wear when they ride their horses. Here Rashi says, Oh, Ani Omer, I say. Shenekar Har Moriah, that the Mount Moriah was uprooted and came to Beit El for Jacob's sake. And that is the contracting of the earth, Kfitzas Haaretz, that is talked about in Meseches Chulin, which he calls Shchitas Chulin. So actually, Shabbat Beis Hamikdash Lekraso, Ad Beit El V'zel Vayivka B'makom. So two separate images. One image is that the ladder was extending from the south, which is Beersheba, all the way to the north, which was Beit El, going over Jerusalem. But here in this place, according to this midrash Rashi cites, the temple itself moved But the temple wasn't even built yet. Of course, the temple didn't move, but Jerusalem moved towards met Yaakov in Beit El. V'im tomar kishavar Yaakov al Beit Hamikdash madua lo ikfo sham. And if you want to say when Jacob passed by the temple, why didn't he stop there? So Rashi says, Iu lo yayev libe ve'yispalel b'makom she'yispalu avosav. He did not, if he did not set his heart to pray at the place where his ancestors had prayed, so why didn't he not stop to pray? So Rashi says, Iu ad Haran azil. He had gone as far as Haran before he had this dream. He had gone all the way to where he had to go, and then he went back. And the verse says, Vayelech Harana, Vayetzei Yaakov Be'ershav, Vayelech Harana. So then what did Rashi say? Then what does Yaakov say? Efshar shabarti al makom shitpalu avotai. Lo itpalalti bo. Yahav datelu meheder v'chazer ad Beit El v'kaftzelo haaretz. Now Rashi teaches us a third image. This is just so incredibly powerful. For this third image, why did Yaakov not stop in Jerusalem to pray? He had gone all the way to Haran. And then all of a sudden he says, wait, I passed by the place where I was supposed to pray. And he went back. He started going back. And when he got back to Beit El, Jerusalem moved to him to help him pray. I think these images, first of all of them need to be dissected. They're just so incredibly powerful. If we go backwards, this last image is, if we start going in the direction we're supposed to go to with our dreams, God is going to meet us. That's what this last image is showing, that Jerusalem got up and met Yaakov where he was. Yaakov had the dreams, and they met him where he was. What about the first image of the ladder being in the middle? We have, at the center of our dreams needs to be Jerusalem. That's to my mind. The center of our dreams needs to be Jerusalem. The ladder was in the middle. So let me just share with you some of the commentary on this Rashi. So what very powerful images here. Let's see what some of the commentary will say here. Let's see what commentary on these Rashis. We go to let's see if there's commentary on this. So far I don't see any. No. Nobody else is as excited as I am. Oh, here we go. So this is not really commentary on the Rashi, but I'm going to cite it because it's such a big part of what we do in our yeshiva is the Daf Yomi. And so here's a story about when the founder of the Daf Yomi, oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank? Rabbi Yosef, help me out. I'm drawing a blank here.
Shapiro Lublin.
Yeah, but what was his first name?
Rabbi Meir.
Yeah, Rabbi Meir Shapiro of Lublin, when he founded the yeshiva, hello, Rab David, shkoyach to you. So Rabbi Meir Shapiro of Lublin, when he started the yeshiva of Lublin was set up to be like the elite institution, like the Havdil, the best yeshiva ever. Like, and they advertised the best in Ruchnius and Gashmius, and so he said that when he founded it, he wanted it to be the elite yeshiva. You had to know some astronomical amount of pages by heart. So when they were dedicating it, which was in 1930, they dedicated it. In 1930, was it 1930, 1840? No, 1930. So Rav Avram Mordechai of Gur said in the name of the Besh, he said, Haval al dereisle darasa v'tara ledarte avid. Says, woe to somebody who has no house and gate for the house that he's doing. So he said, this is this pasuk. He says the Torah is just a gate for those who have God, who are God-fearing, to enter through. So when Jacob saw the place of God, he said, "Look how awesome is this place." And this is the gate to heaven, meaning to say, those 14 years that I studied in the base medrash of Aver were just the gate to the house. And now that he has a temple, he was able to enter into the house. Anyway, that was said by Rabbi Meir by the Sfas Emes. He was there at the dedication of the yeshiva of Rabbi Meir Shapiro in Lublin. Okay, so now we continue with the next Rashi. The next Rashi says,
דבר
Yaakov,
אחר about Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov,
what about it?
that Avraham called it a mountain, and Yitzchak called it a field, and Yaakov called it the house.
Oh,
It's in the same Dibur HaMatchil, according to Sefaria.
okay, so I don't have that in my version, but very nice.
Okay,
Very
so it
nice.
says that we read in
Oh, no,
Psachim
yeah.
88a.
Well, we didn't get up to that part yet. We didn't do all the Rashis on this pasuk. But I still don't have that Rashi. Let's see what he says, Rabbi Yosef. He says, how awesome is this place? Ma dechilu asra hadain. How awesome is this place? Dechilu shem devaru. Okay, fine. V'zeh shar shamayim is the gate of heaven. What does that mean? A place of prayer. Makom tefillah, va'alot tfilatam hashamayma. To bring their prayers up to heaven. And the midrash is that the Beis Hamikdash on high, mekuvan kineged Beis Hamikdash al ma'ata. The Beis Hamikdash above is aligned opposite the Beis Hamikdash below. What does that mean? What is the significance of that statement? That the Beis Hamikdash above is aligned opposite the Beis Hamikdash below. What is the significance of that statement? What do you think that
Even though
means?
it wasn't yet built, that there was already a plan from heaven to bring it, and now the rabbis argued, I think in Perek Chelek, if it's coming, if Muchan V'Omed, like that, the heavenly temple is going to, come down, or do we have to actually build it, right?
That's for sure. Yeah, that's an argument that's in the bottom of Rashi, says that it's going to be built overnight in heavens. Very nice. I was also thinking it's like this. What's the significance of them saying that there's a temple in heaven that parallels a temple on earth? I think that it's a very powerful idea. The idea is that we have the ability to affect the heavens with our mindset, with our spirituality, and how we act mirrors God. So in that sense, we have ability to affect God. It's a very Kabbalistic idea. Very Kabbalistic idea. Okay, so now the next pasuk states, Jacob makes a bargain with God. It says he wakes up in the morning. Jacob wakes up in the morning, takes a stone that he put at his head. He makes it into a pillar. He pours oil on it. Jacob calls that place Beit El. It used to be called Luz. And he makes an oath. Jacob makes an oath. He says, if God will be with me, and you'll guard me on this path, and I'm going on, and you give me bread to eat and garments to wear. What does that mean? He says, if God will be with me, if God will watch me, these promises that he promised to be with me, and he will guard me, and he gives me lechem. By the way, lechem, we usually translate as bread, but lechem in the Torah means food. So Rashi says, as it states, one who seeks bread is called forsaken, as it says, I never saw tzaddik ne'azav azar mavakesh lechem. So he says, if God gives me this, God gives me, if God will be with me. What a powerful phrase, Imiyu Elokim Imadi. If God will be with me. And what is Jacob asking for? He's just asking for something so simple in life. That's the definition of God is with me. He's asking for bread to eat and a garment to wear.
Rav Moshe Tzuriel Zichrono Livracha told us that the Sichot
hear.
Musar, the Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, he explained that even if you have bread in plentiness, but you don't have teeth, or it's like you have clothing, but it's too hot or too cold, and then that's what he's saying. Like even if I have these things, it's also to re'echol and l'ilbosh, not that I have all kinds of bruises or whatever that I can't wear the things or eat because stomach ache or teeth or whatever other. I think just that's a
Powerful.
chat because otherwise it's redundant, right? Le'echol, of course we're going to eat, but what else are we going to do with it?
Shekoyach. And Reb David, what were you saying?
I'm interested in Jacob making a vow.
Yes.
Has anybody made a vow up until now? Did I have not written stuff in the vow?
Avram and Yitzchak did not make vows, but there is one character has made a vow, and that's God. God has made
Who does God make a vow to?
God makes a couple of vows. God makes a vow not to destroy the world again, and God makes a vow, brit, a covenant. Yeah, did you have a follow-up?
No,
He makes a covenant with Abraham.
Oh, okay.
That's a brit. Yes, Rabbi Elon.
God vows not to do something. Does that mean that he physically can't do it?
No, so that's a question that's what it says in the verse. In Shmuel, it says that after Saul did not listen to God, it says that Shmuel comes to Shaul and says, God does not change his vow. When God makes a vow, he never changes. Yes, Reb David.
I'm always intrigued by the spiritual lineage. How is Isaac different spiritually than Abraham and then Jacob? And it seems, I think it's really intriguing that Jacob is at the point. It's like no relationship really with God. And he so readily makes about as he comes to this new place.
Why do you say he has no relationship?
Well, I mean, doesn't have a relationship that, he hasn't spoken with God.
All right, he hasn't had a prophecy yet. This was his prophecy, though. This was his first prophecy, and he responds to it with a vow.
Yeah.
And we're studying this with Benedict in the morning. The question is, are vows a good thing or a bad thing? The rabbis are very suspicious of vows. The proverb says, Tov shelo tidor, better not to make a vow than to make a vow and not pay. Vow is, to a certain degree, a sign of spiritual weakness, Reb David. It means you can't make it on your own. It means the only way I could do this is by vowing.
Right, and he says, well, if you will be with me and provide for me.
Right. It's almost like it. Right. It's also like it's a very nice point. He's basically saying, if God will be with me, what kind of question is that? Is if God will be with me? God is, of course, always with me. What does that mean? Right. Their commentaries point this out. It says,
well, it's almost like,
yes, Deborah. Yes.
I'm sorry to just interrupt. It's almost like, who is it that says I'll do this as long as God does this and this for me? That's Jacob too, isn't it? So if you make a vow and you say, I'm making a vow to do this. If you're making a vow with Hashem and then you break it, you can blame Hashem. It's very slippery slope.
Yeah, right. Why is he making his relationship with God contingent on God being with him? Like if we would say, I'm going to give I'm going to pray if God gives me what I want. No, that we have to pray regardless. Our relationship with God. Yeah.
May I intercede? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir, Raphael. Sure.
I'm sorry. I was just remembering what we heard from Reb Roth 2 days ago, 3 days ago, about the difference between a shavua and a nether, being a vow.
quoting
So a vow is
Benedict.
for things, while an oath is for an action.
Right.
Is that correct?
There are several differences between an oath and a vow. I'm not sure. Right. So that sounds like it's one of them. That a vow is on Let's say it again. A vow is on
Uh,
the,
a vow is on an object or preventing from
and the
doing something
oath
on an
is
object.
on the
Like,
action. Right. Yeah, so Jacob here, I'm not sure that his vow fits into that because
right.
we have to think about that. That's a very good point. A very, very good point, Rafael. Very good point. Rafael is joining us on the Zoom from Peru. What a beautiful thing. Yasha Koach. We're gonna stop here to daven, but Yasha Koach. Value.